Good evening. This is the Harwich Planning Board on Tuesday, October 27th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. or 6:32. Meeting is being held via remote participation only. Access is available through gotomeeting.com and the live broadcast on channel 18. You can join this meeting from the GoToMeeting link that's available online and in emails, or you can also dial in using the following number, 872-240-3412, and the access code is 477-954-757. So calling this to order, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Pennsylvania Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Harwich Planning Board is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. So, looks like we have one item to be discussed this evening. Do I need to read this in, Charlene?
You don't have to read the whole thing. I would just, you need to do a roll call of the members.
Yeah, okay. Roll call here. Duncan Berry is here. Aye. Craig Chadwick.
Craig Chadwick here.
David Harris.
David Harris here.
Joe McFarland.
Joe McFarland here.
Mary Maslowski is not here. Ellen Peterson is not here. Arthur Rouse.
Arthur Rouse, yep.
Bill Stoltz.
Bill Stoltz, yes.
Okay. So we
So
have,
Duncan, you can just call item PB 2020-24. You can reopen that hearing. You don't have to read the whole thing.
okay. We're just here to open this item, item PB 2020-24, 195 Queen Anne Road. It is apparently that this is being continued.
Yes, if I might, very quick. We originally opened the hearing on this matter on October 6, 2020, with no testimony taken at that meeting. The town engineer and I have re-reviewed revised plans that were submitted for the application, and we did notify the abutter on October 6th that the plans were still deficient. I notified the applicant's representative on October 16th with a status update. However, at that time, I received no responses. I did look at my email just before 5 o'clock today, and there was an email from the representative requesting that this be continued to December 1st. And you do
I make
have
a motion that we continue the matter to December 1st.
Do I have a second?
excuse me, not earlier than 6:30 p.m.
Not earlier than 6:30 p.m.
Craig Chadwick, second.
So roll call, Duncan Berry, aye. Craig Chadwick.
Craig Chadwick, aye.
David Harris.
David Harris, aye.
Joe McFarland.
Joe McFarland, aye.
Arthur Rouse.
Arthur Rouse, aye.
Bill Stoltz.
Bill Stoltz, aye.
Thank you. The only items we have left are new business, the minutes. I would just like to, before saying anything further, I would like to say that the minutes do a remarkable job of compressing what was a fairly complicated conversation down to its essence. Many thanks for that work. I think.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo, Katie.
Good job, Katie. We have
Craig Chadwick, I make a motion, we accept the minutes of Tuesday, October 6th, 2020 as written.
Have a second?
Second. Joe McFarland, second.
Thank you, Joe. Roll call, Duncan Berry, aye. Craig Chadwick.
Craig Chadwick, aye.
David Harris.
David Harris, aye.
Joe McFarland.
Aye.
Arthur Rouse.
Arthur Rouse, aye.
Bill Stoltz.
Bill Stoltz, aye.
So do we have any old business?
Just if you have any updates on the town planner's position that you can share or want to.
I don't have anything specific other than they know that this is going on, and I just simply said, we cannot run a ship without a rudder here for very long. And I don't want to kind of submit to the prevailing currents and winds without getting input and funneled information from all the departments when we need it, as we need it, and a professional opinion. So I made my statement, I think, pretty unambiguous.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, Joe McCrellan. Has anybody given any thought to maybe approaching Mary Vaslowski to see if she would be interested in coming back from Yarmouth and becoming the planning director in Harwich?
By the silence, my guess is no. I mean, she just went to Yarmouth.
Right.
And is she appointed there?
Yeah,
What's her position?
she's the town clerk for the town of Yarmouth.
Okay, thank you. I agree with you, Charlene. I doubt she'd want to come back, but I
And also,
thought I'd raise it.
no, they haven't even posted the position yet. So
Yeah.
no one can apply for a job that has not been actually posted or advertised.
Right.
Of course.
Charlene, this is Dave. Let me ask you a question. Do you know of anyone who is interested in the position?
I don't. Then again, I also haven't solicited anything because it hasn't been posted.
Right.
No, I understand that. I was just thought maybe somebody could talk to you about it.
I think part of the concern is that we need to have a ratchet effect. We need to have somebody that can come in with a certain level of competence and skill. And that's going to be the hard part is, but I mean, I think Charlene, we have already had conversations about you being able to train and do the onboarding of somebody in the future. Question is, when can we do that? Thank goodness we don't have like 6 or 10 projects per meeting like we were a year ago, or the agenda was just jammed. So, but you know, this is going to change. So anyway, I don't know what to advise other than perhaps we send a letter to the Board of Selectmen from the board here. Maybe I could circulate something just as an encouragement that we all sign and ask them to kind of step up the game.
It would be more appropriate if the board directed you as the chair to write a letter to the Board of Selectmen and administration.
Okay.
So moved.
All right.
Well, you can't actually make a motion because it's not on the agenda. However, you can all go, yes, please do that.
All right. Why don't I draft?
Yes, please do that.
Yes, please.
Send a letter around, Duncan.
Right. I'll just write. It's going to be a 2 to 3 sentence letter, just going on the record with what we talked about this evening.
Yeah.
And if that's passes muster, I'll try and circulate that, you know, before Wednesday or excuse me, before Thursday or Friday, and maybe
No, Duncan, you can't circulate correspondence to the board members.
Okay.
You can just because that's acting on something outside.
Okay. So
This is Dave, Duncan. I think it would be important to note in the letter that we simply cannot function without Charlene's participation as a consultant, and it would put the town in a tenuous legal position without her extensive knowledge.
yeah.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yep. I like that phrasing too, David.
Yeah.
I also think that there's some procedural, the continuity of procedure and institutional memory, something that we sacrifice, and we can't afford to go, over the ledge on that.
We also would be required to have her for on-board relief because nobody can step into this position and hit the ground running and not make mistakes without the kind of background that Charlene has. So, it's not just for the interim before they find a new town planner. It's for a period of on-board relief that's essential as well.
Correct.
However, I've been involved. If it helps any, this is Joe McCrellan. I've been involved in the past when we've had to select a new planning director. It's not an impossible project, and there are candidates out there. So I think we'll be able to get somebody. Charlene, if you disagree, say so, but that's my opinion.
I don't disagree with you at all, Joe. The problem is there's no been posting or advertising. This is going to be a several-month process. I'm supposed to be retiring, and I gave notice of my retirement back in August, early August. So, this should have been that transition time, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. But, I am willing to help as much as I can, but not for an extended period of time.
Right.
We're suggesting no more than a year and a half.
Yeah, bite your tongue.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, would it make sense for you to meet with Mr. Powers and explain all of this to him?
Well, again, that's what I did this morning. I spent
And how did that go?
With Larry Valentine, the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and told them, this is what we've been talking about for the last month. And that we have collective concern. All I wanted to do was formalize it with a letter so that, we're on the record with this.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mr. Chairman, it's Craig.
Yes, Craig.
If you can share anything, what was the takeaway, when you ended your meeting and said goodbye? Was Joe or Larry or somebody going to take some action? Did you get an indication, or was it just
they're aware of it? I think they feel like they probably have bigger fish to fry, and with the new town administrator, and I think we've got budget issues. One of the things that they said that the top difficulties that they're having is they're trying to discharge 7 or 8 properties in the procurement process so that they can get unencumbered from a series of financial issues that they're concerned with. So, I think that we're looking at between that and probably tax receipts, like a series of boxcars that are hitting at the same time. And so I'm sure they're hearing this from everybody else that's got a squeaky wheel, and I don't blame them for it, and I don't blame them, but I do think we need to, we probably do need to put more squeak into the wheel and less grease. So, because this is
they need to understand this. They need to understand this is like feeding 7 of your children and leaving the 8th one to starve to death.
Right.
That's why they get the big money.
Right. Well, and I think the thing is what you say, David, about our tenuous legal position is absolutely spot on. We can't, the town can't afford to come back and say, how could you have allowed this to happen?
Right.
One lawsuit and they'll really regret being penny wise and pound foolish. So
that could be the town, that could be the first year's salary.
Right.
Right.
So I think,
I was just going to say, or if there is no replacement for a lengthy period of time, and we as a board have to end up referring everything to town council or KP Law or whoever it is, there's a cost and a time factor associated with that to the town as well.
Right.
Even if we do everything right, if we have to get a legal opinion on, everything we do,
right.
There's an impact there.
Well.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
I have your
this is
permission to
Arthur.
draft- Yes, Arthur, sorry.
No problem. It was my understanding when I retired from a town position, even though the town has known that Charlene has requested that she's going to be leaving, usually the ball doesn't start rolling until she signs those papers, which I imagine she already has for a date and when she's leaving. So it's not that they're maybe lagging behind. A lot of times the process doesn't start until that happens.
Okay,
That happened in August.
right.
Has she signed her papers in August?
My papers
right.
have nothing to do with it. They don't know when I signed my papers.
Oh, okay, then it's different then. Okay.
But did you?
I submitted a letter on August 4th telling them I was retiring on a date specific,
And what was that?
November 27th.
Okay.
But you didn't have to sign papers, Charlene?
That's
Yes, you
separate.
did. Yeah.
That is
Okay,
different.
that's different. That's
Yeah.
different. Okay. I know them.
Barnstable County Retirement won't even talk to you until a month before you're planning on retiring.
I know all that. Mr. Chairman, I think you've got to have a meeting with the town administrator, and maybe the town administrator and the chairman of the board.
I think that already happened.
That's what I did this
Okay.
morning.
You did?
Great. Okay. So they know what our problem is.
They know the problem. That's what I'm saying. I was just seeing if memorializing it in a letter would make any sense, but they know what, I mean, like I said, I spent 10 minutes going through a checklist of things that I would want to have to, we would even begin to run this operation without a planner at this point. There are too many, I mean.
Right.
So.
Duncan, have you talked to Steve Ford about this at all?
I have a call with Steve on Thursday morning at 11 or 11:30.
Okay. Thank you.
And I've spoken to him, I've spoken to Don, I've spoken to Larry, I've spoken to who else? Mike. Mike knows, I mean, I've expressed it to Michael, excuse me, McCaskill. And so I think Steve is the last one that I need to speak with, so.
Now, in the meantime, is there a possibility that the assistant town administrator, the newly appointed assistant town administrator, could handle some of this?
There is no newly appointed assistant town administrator.
Who's the guy?
Mr. Lawton has been filling in for a couple hours a week. And he's been doing that now for months, but that's it. I mean, he's straight out in what he's doing.
I gotcha. Okay.
Other
And
than
that's
him.
an issue, from what I've read, that's an issue unto itself that he may be going to Yarmouth.
Right.
Possibly. So I don't even know how long he might be around as the assistant, and they have to address that. And I think that's a hire that Joe makes, right? Joe Powers?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, if you're going to have that meeting, I'd be more than glad to go with you, only because I've been on this board for so long, so I think I could contribute something.
Well, like I said, I've got a 5-minute call with Steve, and what we might do is, when's our next meeting scheduled?
The
November
next
10th?
meeting is is Tuesday, November 10th.
So on Tuesday, would it be possible for me to read to the members a letter at that point that we can then all agree that they would, or how is this, what's the proper
Well,
procedure?
that's 2 weeks away. That's 2 more weeks. What
I know.
I suggested
Yeah,
earlier.
that letter needs to go as soon as possible.
Okay,
And,
I agree.
and
Yeah.
what I suggested, because you were very eloquent in your speech and your writing, Mr. Chairman, is that if the board members say to you, please write a letter, that it would be up to you to write the letter to submit to whomever.
Okay. I will
Please
do
write
that.
a letter, Duncan.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do that. Could I CC?
By the way,
Planning department on this?
No, I have nothing to do with this.
no, you just do it.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
think you could. I mean, I don't.
It's not
require-
necessary is what I'm saying. You don't have to CC the planning department.
Well, let me rephrase that. Would it be helpful to run that letter by you first to make sure that it covers
No.
all the important points?
we've
It
got
would
a-
not be appropriate.
No. She can't be involved.
You don't want her involved.
Exactly.
All
Now,
right. I will-
by the way, planning board members, I need to remind you, November 10th is the United States Marine Corps birthday.
Happy
There you go.
birthday.
Happy birthday, 75.
Happy birthday to all of Uncle Sam's misguided children. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, yeah.
On that note, I have turkey stew waiting for me for dinner, so.
I think we've wrapped it up. Do you have any briefings or reports? Yes, Mr.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, it's Craig.
Yes, Craig.
I don't want to go down a rat hole on this, but I know we received some documentation.
Don't even go there. Please don't
Right,
go
I
there.
know it's a
There's no application. There's nothing before this board. Don't even talk about it, please.
okay.
All right,
Fair
I
enough.
heard a motion from Mr. McFarland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dave Harris, second.
Duncan Berry, aye. Craig Chadwick?
Craig Chadwick, aye.
David Harris?
Dave Harris, aye.
Joe McFarland?
Joe McFarland, aye.
Arthur Rouse?
Arthur Rouse, aye.
Bill Stoltz?
Bill Stoltz, aye.
Okay, Glenn. Ladies, much
Thanks,
obliged,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.